Oh, please, please.
And you don't have forever. None of us ever do.
If there's ever anything wrong, you can tell me. I'm the guy that wants to help. This is our thing. Now, is there anything that you need to tell me? No.
No, he never lied to our faces.
Okay, he never saw our faces, fine. He lied to our email accounts, and he gave himself a 42-day head start because he knows what apparently you don't, which is that getting there first is everything. You stole our whole goddamn idea.
This isn't petty larceny. This idea is potentially worth millions of dollars.
I played it hard and fast, 'cause I had everything. I walked away, you want me then, but easy.
How are you?
I'm fine, mostly fine.
Anytime I feel you got me, no. Anytime I see you, let me know. But the plan and see, just let me go. I'm on my knees when I'm begging, 'cause I don't wanna lose you.
I don't know if I can do this.
I'm begging you. Put your love in the hand now, baby. I'm begging
Fuck you.
Put your love in the hand.
You're welcome.
Now,
Look, she still asked for my number at the end of the show.
Try so hard
Meaning what?
to be your man.
Meaning she couldn't have been that sad because she was still trying to fuck me.
Begging you. What the hell, man? Put your loving hand out, baby. I'm begging you. To put your loving hand out, darling. I'm begging you.
Now, if y'all want to live, if you want to survive, you gotta fight for it. I'm talking about fight right here, right now. Take the snare pole. Herschel, take the snare pole. Herschel, listen to me, man, please. Take it now. Herschel!
Will you be an angel for a helpless animal? Every day, innocent animals are abused, beaten, and neglected, and they're crying out for help. Please, call the number on your screen and join the BC SPCA with a monthly gift right now. For just $18 a month, only 60 cents a day, you'll help rescue animals from their abusers and provide medical care, food, shelter, and love. Call or join online in the next 30 minutes and you'll receive this welcome kit with the photo of an animal in the shelter right now, one who's been given a second chance, thanks to you. Right now, there's an animal who needs you. Your call says, I'm here to help. Please call right now.
I believe the metaverse is the next chapter for the internet, and it's the next chapter for our company too. So I've been thinking a lot about what this means for our company and who we are as we embark on this journey. We're a company that focuses on connecting people. One of the reasons I started Facebook was that at the time you could use the internet to find almost anything. Information, news, movies, music, shopping, except for the thing that matters most of all, people. Today, we are seen as a social media company, but in our DNA, we are a company that builds technology to connect people. And the metaverse is the next frontier. But connecting people was always much bigger. From way earlier on, I remember sitting in middle school classes, sketching in my notebooks, ideas that I wanted to code when I got home. Yet, here we are in 2021, and our devices are still designed around apps, not people. To reflect who we are and what we hope to build, I am proud to announce that starting today, our company is now Meta. Our mission remains the same. It's still about bringing people together. Our apps and their brands, they're not changing either. And we are still the company that designs technology around people. From now on, we're going to be Metaverse first, not Facebook first. That means that over time, you won't need to use Facebook to use our other services. And as our new brand starts showing up in our products, I hope that people come to know the Meta brand and the future that we stand for. I am dedicating our energy to this more than any other company in the world. And if this is the future that you want to see, then I hope that you will join us. Because the future is going to be beyond anything we can imagine.
Jimmy.
Uh-huh.
Would you like to play a game of rock, paper, scissors, robot style?
Sure.
Okay, let's get this game going. Show me your hand to start. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. I won. This is a good beginning of my plan to dominate the human race.
Let's go.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to go too far. All right, next is a delegation request by Mr. Elijah Manley.
Elijah Manley.
State your name for the record,
My name
please,
is
sir.
Elijah Manley. I go to Fort Lauderdale High School. I simply represent the youth. I am here today to request that the County Commission lower the voting age to 15 or 16 so that young folks like myself may participate in our democracy.
Our generation is the future. We are the ones that are going to vote on these laws. We are the ones that are going to get affected by these laws, and we are the ones that have to do the change in order to get what we want.
I'm concerned about our mold-infested schools, underpaid teachers, a failed bonds program, and a failed leadership here at the Broward County School Board.
The schools are not providing for their communities. And what's the point of public education at all?
And we're just tired of it. The segregation of the ESC students. Like that one parent was saying, when are they going to actually listen to the students and the parents of the community? For the past summer, I've had the opportunity to help 5 homeless students in this county who are recent graduates of high school. Many were pregnant, many were sick, and absolutely no place to go. None, zero. In this county, no programs.
We want everyone around us to be surrounded with the same support that we are in order for our world to actually succeed and be a better place for everyone.
Among at least a small subset of young voters, they are interested not just in voting and in helping, they're interested in running.
Hi, I'm Elijah Manley. I am the 22-year-old running for the Florida House of Representatives here in South Florida. Yes, 22 and running for political office. You don't see that too often, but that's who I am. You know, I've always had an interest in politics and in the political system from a very young age. I never thought I'd be running for office, though. I've always thought, you know, I'd be working on political campaigns, which I did, interning in offices of, you know, Congress members or county commissioners and city commissioners and mayors. But I never actually saw myself running. It wasn't until after the election of Donald Trump that I wanted to kind of re-envision where I saw myself or my role in my community. You know, I was watching in high school one day President Obama's farewell address, and, you know, he said something that stuck with me in that address that kind of prompted me to run for office. And he said, well, if you're disappointed in your elected officials, then go grab a clipboard,
get some signatures, and run for office yourself.
And, you know, here I was in high school at that time, my senior year, and I thought to myself, well, you know, he has a point there. I am disappointed in what I'm seeing, and I want to do something about it, so I decided to run. And I think that was probably the best decision I ever made.
I think we're going to see increases in the number of young people voting. We saw an increase in 18, We saw an increase in 2020. I think we'll see an increase in 2022 and in 2024, especially 2024 as a presidential year election. The general trend is as the number of people voting in general has gone larger, we've also seen the percentage of young people voting getting larger as well.
Every decision you make, everywhere you go, there's a political decision that has led to what happens in your day-to-day life. You want to go to the store and purchase a good, there's a political decision that ultimately determines what the price is. You want to go to school, you want to get an education, the cost of tuition is a political decision, whether or not you have student debt, whether or not you'll be incarcerated for marijuana. Everything that you do in your life is affected by politics. So it's so important to engage.
We are seeing young people begin to show an interest in public service. It's always been there, but we're seeing a broader base. The categories of young people who are willing to run are less white, less male, less, standard, off-the-shelf sort of effect.
When people think of a politician or an elected official, what do they think of? They think of someone who is wealthy, or they may look a certain way, or they might have a certain amount of money, or they're a lawyer, or they're a doctor, or they're someone that has a lot of resources. And that's not always the case, and that shouldn't always be the case. It should be people who look different, that reflects our community, that might be young, that might not have a $1 million net worth, or that might not be a lawyer or a doctor, or that might be a student. My first trip to the Capitol, to Washington, D.C., I was invited by our late Congressman Alcee Hastings, who passed away in April. I always write to his office, talk about things that mattered to me, and I was really young. So, one day he called and he said, "Young man, do you want to come to D.C.?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." And I think that was the most life-changing experience I ever had, because I never saw myself, that was the first time I was anywhere near the halls of power anywhere, and being able to go there and be with some of the most powerful people in the country and have a member of Congress giving me the attention as a young person, as someone who wasn't even a voter, really changed my life. It allowed me to see how the system worked, how everything operated, and really feel like I had the ear of my congressman as a 15, 16-year-old at that time.
They've got to feel like this matters to them. They've got to feel like the outcome is something that will affect their lives in a way that they feel they can control by participating in the voting, or better yet, participating in the running of the election. It begins with feeling empowered.
And that really stuck with me. One thing he said to me that still sticks with me to this day is, there's not a lot of people like us up here, which I still hold on to. But he said, never take for granted who you are and the people that you serve. And as a young person, I see myself in him, I see my story in him, and I want other people to feel like their story is also there. So that's why I'm running.
This campus that we're on right now is actually Elijah's alma mater. And through a friend, I got to know Elijah because I called him and asked him for some advice. Like, "Hey man, I'm thinking about running for school board. How do I do this?" His response to me was, "Man, I'm gonna keep it honest with you. You need money. Don't spend money." And so we kind of cross-endorsed each other. We became super close. We shared political ideas with one another. We help each other out. We make introductions for one another. And it's an amazing friendship, an amazing candidate, and I'm sure he's going to do amazing things in Tallahassee when he wins in January.
Historically, young people have felt disenfranchised by the system. And so as more young people vote, the politicians are going to have to listen to the young people and begin to give them what they want in terms of policy, for fear that they will vote against them in coming elections.
And that's how change starts. You don't just speak out one day and suddenly change a whole law, suddenly get to Congress. You have to get your whole community, you have to get a whole group of people, because the more people there is, the more they're gonna actually listen to you, because they're not gonna listen to one person, they're gonna listen to a whole army of people.
The issues that affect us as individuals affect our neighbors, the small business owners, affect the families that live next door. I think it's important for us to recognize that no man is an island, which is a gendered expression, but it definitely holds true. We're all really interconnected, and it's important that for any of us individually to thrive, we have to work to make sure all of us can thrive.
talk about this a lot, my story of being homeless chronically when I was younger, when I was a teenager and younger than that, where we would constantly be, you know, not have a place to go, or we were getting evicted, or, you know, for sometime months at a time, we would sleep out of a car or a storage facility or couch surf, or on some occasions literally just have nowhere to go. And, you know, the memory I have in my head that follows me the most is some of those mornings having to go up and not having a shower in my house to shower before school. And in many cases, we would have to go to the beach before the sun came out, and we have to shower at the turnstiles, the little beach showers. I went to school every day to get my education, and I kept my head forward. And I know that's not easy for anybody that's young to do. You know, I know I'm not the only one, and I know my family wasn't the only family to go through that. And having that voice in the Hall of Power, I think, is extremely important, because I've been up to Tallahassee, to our state capitol. I've been up to Washington, D.C. And in those places, is absent of the perspective that's needed to really represent everybody. And in many cases, that has consequences that could be deadly for some, that could be very harmful for some communities. For me, I see human lives, because I know there was a time when I went without, and there was a time when I didn't have, and there was a time when there really wasn't anybody there to help us and help our family in need, or there wasn't the government there to help us. So for me, I think having that life experience is a plus, a benefit to our community, because you'll have somebody in the halls of power who understand probably the majority of this community and what they're going through.
I'm just telling you now. He sucks at painting. Oh, that's I want to put it on there. Okay. And then. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
coward. You can't say that about people.
For some people, not all people.
Vegan is fine. This isn't the thing. Like, if you want to be vegan, it's kind of what else? Burning.
I literally saw it and I'm like, am I listening to her? And I don't remember what. Yeah.
I am Dominic Massey. I am the owner of Bits and Buttons Toys and Collectibles right here in Plantation, Florida. It's actually a double-edged sword. You would think that the pandemic kind of like would hinder a brick and mortar business. It actually gave us an opportunity to kind of expand out to what we normally would do. With any business nowadays, I mean, we kind of go with the social media, we go with online marketplaces like eBay, Amazon, things like that. But one of the things that it really helped us engage with is our customers through Facebook. We started Facebook live shows probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and we really were kind of like on the ropes about it. When the pandemic hit, we just went full steam ahead with it, and we were able to captivate a very large audience and kind of grow our business through Facebook live shows, which we do through Facebook groups. Oh, absolutely. The sales were great during the pandemic for us. I mean, we were, I wouldn't say at an all-time high, but I mean, it really gave us an opportunity to sell merchandise to an audience that's not able to get out to stores. Not everybody, you know, people say people shop online. When it comes to the toy industry, it's a little bit different. It's more of a tangible item that people want to see, people want to hold, want to touch. So doing the live shows, being able to show people what we have in stock, what we have in the store at all times really helped push our sales through, because we're not just showing one item. You're not browsing through the internet going, oh, there goes that item. At least you see the entire square footage of the store. You see something in the background that you may want. It gave us that opportunity to push those items. Oh, that happens all the time. I mean, I've been in this industry since I was 16 years old, so we're pushing now probably 20 plus years that I've been doing this. maybe even longer than that actually. But you see that all the time. One of the things that I'm pretty frugal on the stuff that comes into the store. Everything is about reputation. It's all about integrity. I don't push products that are, you know, if it retails for $15 and it's going for $75 on eBay because it's the hot thing this week. That's not what I'm here for. There's things that come in the store that go for triple and quadruple the price on eBay, but I'm not selling at that price. You know, because one of the things that I have 2 kids of my own. You know, kids want things just like an adult may want something. Are they willing to go out and spend 4 times the amount? They don't. I'm very active in the community when it comes to toys and just the Facebook groups and things like that, and I see the frustration from people. So one thing, when people bring us stuff that, perfect example is Funko. I think it was Target Con that just happened. I mean, we opened our doors at 10 o'clock. At 10:15, I had somebody walking in with 3 bags of merchandise, all from Target. You don't want this stuff? No, I don't want it. I'm not building my reputation on being the first to Target to clear out their shelf. I have wholesalers, I have distributors, I can get the stuff. But when it comes to con exclusives and things like that, I'm going to give you what you pay for it. That's it. I'm not going to give you a penny more because I'm not going to sell it for that scalper price. So it kind of frustrates the people that are trying to bring that stuff to us, and we kind of weeded those out. And we get a somewhat respect from the community locally for not doing that to customers. And I'm pretty frugal when it comes to that merchandise that comes in the door. NECA TMNT turtles. You don't see a lot of those in the store because I don't buy them from people. You want to bring them to me in 6 months when the prices are normal? Be more than happy to. But I'm not buying them at an all-time high because I got to be able to sell it for an affordable price. When we buy merchandise, one of our things is we buy on value. So if it's something where you have a bunch of merchandise and it's one piece in there, we'll let them know. Like, this is what I'm going to sell it for. You know, like I said, I'm a man of integrity. If I tell you I'm going to sell it for $65, I'm going to sell it for $65. Even though it may go for $90, I take a lot of things into account. Shipping, fees, things like that. So when the bottom line is what it goes for. And that's what I offer to these people. So when somebody comes in with a one-off item like that, I'm going to be upfront with them about it. So it doesn't really disappoint those. And then I get, like I said, a line of respect from those that do understand why I do it. Man, one of the things about the toy industry, it's a very eclectic industry. You have a wide range of age groups. Like I said, I've been doing it since I was 16 years old, and even before I started doing it, there were people doing it. So it's all a matter of what generation you grew up in. If you grew up in the 60s and 70s and you were a Star Wars fan, you collected Star Wars, and that's all you knew. And even to this day, that the people that come in and buy our vintage Star Wars stuff is that generation. You do have people from the modern generation getting into it just because of the fandom of Star Wars. But then when you start getting into the 70s and 80s, you see a complete generation shift. And in this industry, it's all about generation shifts. So you see they start to turn towards He-Man, turn towards G.I. Joe, and that was a completely generation. And when you talk to collectors, most of the time what they'll tell you is, I didn't have that as a kid, or that wasn't around when I was a kid. So people that collect usually collect what they grew up with when it comes to the vintage and things like that. The millennial generation, the newer generation that's out now, you kind of see where they kind of dip into a little bit of everything. Anime is a big thing, especially in South Florida. South Florida is a huge anime community, and it kind of hinders us and what we offer because we're not really an anime store. We don't really have that type of merchandise. So we have our little sections that we offer to people, but you do see where it's like a culture where if you grew up with a parent, or you grew up with somebody that collected vintage, or grew up with somebody that was into a fandom like Star Wars and Ninja Turtles, you see those trying to gravitate towards it as well. So when it comes to like age groups, you think a toy store, you think a young kid, you think a 5-year-old with a parent. It's not the case for us. We try to cater to all demographics. We carry stuff for adults, we carry stuff for kids, we carry stuff for men, for women. It's tapping into an industry that's a $26 billion industry, and there's so much to offer out there. And a lot of businesses, comic book shops, collectible stores, they tend to focus solely on one thing, and it kind of hinders what you're doing, because one of our slogans is not just living in the past, embrace it. And that's for a lot of the older generation. But then when it comes to newer generation, it's, we sell memories one toy at a time, because in reality, the happiest time of your life is usually when you're a kid. Usually when you have that action figure or that doll in your hand. And as you get older, we go through times where, you hate your job, or you have family issues, or you have financial issues. And most people, you say to yourself, think of the happiest moment in your life, you look back at it as a kid as to when you're playing with your toys. And that's why people collect. They get to a point in their life where they're able to afford something that they weren't able to afford as a kid, or they didn't get, or their parents couldn't afford to get it. And you see that a lot with people where, you know, they come in and it's just like, man, I remember seeing it as a kid. And it's just that nostalgia that kind of kicks in with people. And again, if they have kids, I have 2 boys of my own, and they understand vintage toys just as much as I do, because they're consumed in it by myself. And you see that a lot. So when I have young kids that are like 8 years old and they buy vintage Star Wars because their grandfather did it. You know, so it's a very wide spectrum as to who walks through our doors, and it changes every day. Every day it changes. No, absolutely. One thing I will never carry in my store is comics. I'm just very ignorant when it comes to comics. I did not grow up reading comics. I mean, I know X-Men, that's it, but I really don't know it. I was always a toy guy. So for me, one of the things about my store is I like to look at us as a brand. We are a brand. We have a very strong social media presence, and you can't handicap yourself. You know, when I first opened up the doors, I was very consumed with, okay, well, I'm not going to buy everything that people want because I'll just go broke. But when you really look at it, it's such a wide industry. When you go to conventions, when you go to these toy shows, people collect everything. My Star Wars section when I first opened up was a little 4-foot section. Now, granted, we have expanded since then, but our Star Wars section went from a 4-foot section to a whole quadrant in the store just because of the fandom of Star Wars. The same thing with wrestling. You know, you don't realize how much of an impact you have on a community when it comes to what we offer until you start seeing people come through the doors every day, and it becomes a regular habit for people. Because when I first opened up, everybody looked at me like, you're opening up a brick and mortar in times like this, it makes no sense. And I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I got over 20 plus years of experience, not only in the toy industry, but in major retail. So I kind of have an idea as to what I'm doing. But you kind of have to change with the times. You can't be stagnant, and no matter what you're doing, you have to look to change up in what you offer, change up in what you're doing. And a lot of people tell us all the time, every time you come in here, it's something different. And that's what keeps people coming in the door. You know, you don't want to keep going to a restaurant and have the same menu every single day. You want to hear what the daily specials are. You know, and that's one thing that I like to look at us as, we change with the times. Like I said, our anime, we weren't known for anime, and we're just casually bringing in anime. We have an 8-foot anime section now. Our anime pops, we sell out of anime pops every week. You know, so are we tapping into that whole industry? There's only so much room in our 4 walls, but we want to try to bring in as much merchandise for the community as possible.
Caught me off guard. I wish that I'd been sober. Still, here we are, back in Hanover 99, just like old times all over. Under the exit lights, as beautiful as ever. I really wish that I dressed up a little better. No regrets is what we say. We can't go back again, darling. Nobody said that it would last forever. That doesn't mean we didn't try to get there. I never said that we would die together. That doesn't mean it was a lie. Remember, nobody said that it would last forever. Head in my hands, cold coffee on the table. Wish you the best. I would if I was able. Morning light, it stings a little. Out of my mind, I don't remember calling. Had too much tonic wine. Sometimes it does the talking home. You know, I wish you all the love you're looking for. Darling, nobody said that it would last forever. That doesn't mean we didn't try to get to get there. I never said that we would die together. That doesn't mean it was a lie. They'll never take those long summer days when love was untamed, so burning hearts are dead to break. Remember, nobody said that it would last forever.
When I'm away from you, I'm happier than ever. Wish I could explain it better. I wish it wasn't true. Give me a day or two to think of something clever, to write myself a letter, to tell me what to do. Read my interviews, or do you skip my avenue when you said you were passing through? Was I even on your way? I knew when I asked you to be cool about what I was telling you. You would do the opposite of what you said you'd do, and I'd end up more afraid. Don't say it isn't fair. You clearly weren't aware that you made me miserable. So if you really wanna know when I'm away from you, I'm happier than ever. Wish I could explain it better. I wish it wasn't true.
We have a new name for the coronavirus. The World Health Organization has officially called it COVID-19.
The CDC is on guard.
It's a word we haven't heard much lately, super spreader.
U.S. health officials are concerned this rapid spread could mimic the massive SARS outbreak of the early 2000s, which resulted in 774 deaths in 29 countries.
More than 40,000 people have been infected.
Dealing with this disease is a marathon, not a sprint. The situation will get worse before it gets better.
If the virus turns out to be readily transmissible from human to human, then we'll have a much larger problem on our hands.
It was like a death. I mean, it was terrible, and I didn't realize it was happening. I think it was when it happened in February, March, and you know, Mark came in and said, you know, there's a plague coming across the country, and I had no idea because I don't watch TV, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so within a week or so, we were closed.
I mean, theater shut down.
The world just kind of stopped at that point.
I mean, the pandemic changed everything.
I was directing Something's Afoot in the Black Box Theater with a cast of 11 when the pandemic hit, and we had to cancel it.
We didn't even finish building the set, and we had to tear it apart.
I was in a production, it's a musical known as Something's Afoot, when the pandemic hit. We had begun music rehearsals, and we were just about to start acting rehearsals. We were literally on our last music rehearsal when we got the news that we had to go into the COVID-19 shutdown.
Anything that involved respiration expiration, we were shut down because expiration, respiration became poisonous.
Just seeing constant media outlets always talking about how dead media is, how dead productions are, how even film and TV had sort of ground to a halt.
I was completely devastated when I heard that the pandemic had shut down all theater productions nationwide and across the world. It was so devastating. I was hopelessly depressed and lost. And it was just super difficult.
I have a mentor, I'll go ahead and say this, who said she preferred to call it a winter instead of a death.
At first it wasn't too bad, but then weeks turned into months and months, and it was just, I felt like I was just stuck for a very long time.
The pandemic, basically, the main thing was how are we going to continue live things and live events during the pandemic. It was important to me and the department with the theater education to continue to produce live theater. So the first hurdle was to try to figure out what was the best technology to do it. We settled on Zoom and then dealt with all of the Zoom related things in that regard. So yeah, that was the big thing, to keep it live and keep the productions going, so where the cast was actually live and not pre-recorded.
During the pandemic, in order for us to actually do productions, they had to be completely non-contact, people had to be separated into their own spaces, and the spaces had to be closed in. We couldn't have live audiences, so we had to learn how to stream, use OBS to be able to run sound and slides and stuff for transitions.
When you act to a camera, it's different than when you're acting to an audience, right? And that was different, that was difficult. Wi-Fi alone, bro, could not.
The live audience makes all the difference in the world. You can do anything you want into this infernal camera contraption and get no audience response back. So having a live audience means the world to education in live theater.
I knew it had to be done because obviously health comes first in any case with just about everything, but it's difficult because especially with theater and being an actor on the stage when it's live, it disrupts everything you do and changes it. So it was very tough, and we're still trying to get used to having things back to normal. It's not quite there yet, but hopefully it will very soon.
The pandemic changed the way that I thought about rehearsing. It changed my methods for safety. It also changed a lot of my internal preparation as an actress. I became much more comfortable with a camera, much more comfortable with self-taping. There was an interview that I did pre-pandemic, and I can use this experience as an example, where I was in front of a camera and I was literally shaking. And at this point in time, I'm totally chill, because I'm used to being in front of a camera now. I'm used to talking into a lens, singing into a lens, talking into my iPhone, which I'm grateful for that. The pandemic definitely strengthened my self-tape capabilities and has made me a more well-rounded actress, especially for the screen and not just the stage.
When you're live, with live theater, you go to the rehearsals and you get ready and see everybody, and there's a certain amount of crunch there and to learn your lines, but with virtual theater, it kind of allows you to get a little bit lazy. So it's just kind of sitting there on a Zoom or whatever video format you're using and trying to learn the lines. It kind of made me a bit more lazy, but luckily I was able to pull through.
You can't feel the energy from the audience, and you have no connection. And live performance and live theater is all about that connection. It's about receiving energy, sending energy, and just getting that feeling. And so performing to a screen was not only fatiguing, but impossibly difficult.
One thing that in particular is that you live off of audience interaction and the other actors beside you. It's so much harder to perform live on a broadcast for like what was supposed to be on the stage than actually doing it in real time. It was difficult to adjust.
And yeah, it's gotten a little bit easier. It's gotten a little bit easier, but it isn't live performance.
First concern there was for the safety of the students and everybody involved. So, pulling the plug on the Something's Afoot was really hard, but it was necessary just to keep everybody safe, and in my opinion, we should have potentially done it sooner.
But with like scenery and with lighting and having actors interact with each other and getting that energy from each other, it's a lot harder to do it via webcam versus in person. Lighting for film is completely different than lighting for theater because what your eyes see versus what the camera can pull in are two completely different things. So we had to kind of learn all new ways of doing shows just because of the pandemic.
We needed a wired or hard-lined internet connection for our Zoom production of something, the Maltese Falcon. We needed to then reserve individual office spaces that were isolated and distanced from everybody else so that we could have a reliable internet connection and then a socially distanced performance space.
Because sometimes they would die and fall out of a chair and then you just see their hands sneak up and like click off. So it was interesting trying to like work around those things.
Here, give me the scissors from the desk, will ya?
Everything that we do is collaboration, and it was Dan who suggested the Safe Sound pods, which were large sarcophagi with plexiglass, which would allow a singer to go in and take the mask off. Because again, in my business, you must see the mouth to be able to understand and get the whole full communication. That was the biggest thing that we were worried about, and in safety. So these pods were vented to the outside, and we had the Office of Plague Safety come over and make sure that they were safe. And then we did this kind of music video thing where we went to the Mariachi, and we had actors in costumes, and we were all safe distanced, and they could take off their mask, and we filmed them, and we did it in the performance theater as well.
We had to imagine different versions of The Tempest, right? We had to imagine one where audiences would not be there, right? We imagined one where the audience was in an entirely different space and only the actors and the technicians and the crew were in the actual black box. And we were gonna somehow, almost like a movie, like a live movie, we were going to, transmit it into another space, which we were going to like make into kind of a shipwrecked sort of environment, you know what I mean? So we imagined that. Then we imagined one that was entirely on Zoom. Then we imagined one that, we had to keep an open mind and just sort of adjust. We didn't know if we would be masked, not masked. We really didn't know until not the last minute, but pretty damn close to the last minute, how things were gonna happen.
How can you live, and how can you as an artist continue when someone tells you that you can't make your art, or that making your art or performing your art is the most dangerous thing you could do for the people that you strive to connect with?
The ability to just like sit in my room instead of going to class, it's not healthy, but it's kind of happened because like during the last 2 semesters where everything was socially distanced, and the option was like you could either stay in your room online or you could go to the class if you want to.
I knew that I loved theater. I knew that I loved performing, but to be faced with the massive obstacle of you have made the choice to follow your dreams and now you can't perform. It created a really sharp insecurity in me, and I didn't know. I just didn't know if I had made the right choice for myself. I didn't know if theater was something that I wanted to do, because while I love performing and while I love connecting, performing for a screen is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to be on a stage. I want to be in a theater. I want to connect with other people, and not getting to do that made me wonder if I had made the right choice.
Quick pinch, okay?
Hitting the new benchmark today, 50% of all Americans, half our country, is now fully vaccinated.
This semester, we were lucky enough to do The Tempest in person, masked, and it was a really wonderful experience. And then I also participated in The Mayfly, which was also a live production this year.
I think what everyone pulled off was, I don't know, I thought it was spectacular.
When I got to The Tempest and I was listening to it for a designer run or something like that early on in the process, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can sit here and not get tired. And they're talking Shakespeare and I don't understand them. And then I realized I'm just thrilled to be in the theater.
It was the first time that I think I was even in a theater space watching something. I mean, I directed it, but still, I think, yeah, I'm proudest of The Tempest.
But The Mayfly was next. And again, I was thrilled to be able to sit in the theater. By that point, we were a little bit more comfortable. I was a little uncomfortable in the black box because the audience was full. So I was a little nervous about that. But now that I have my booster shot, I'd go and do it again.
It feels so good. It feels so good. It feels so good. Just feeling, it's all energy based with the with theater, and there's nothing quite like it, because you could see things on the screen, but it's a different type of reaction, because you could see audience members enjoying what they're seeing. With that, it fuels you to keep on going. And once there's rhythm and energy, it flows massively. And with the return of live theater, and it's been amazing, and I'm so excited to get back to what we do best.
Oh my gosh, it's the best feeling ever. It's the best feeling ever. When we were doing The Tempest, I am not someone who gets nervous. Like, I've been performing probably now for 10 plus years, and so I don't typically get nervous in rehearsal or even in like tech performances. The only time that I get nervous typically is about a minute before I go on stage. My whole body suddenly gets shot with adrenaline. But when we were doing The Tempest, the second I heard the audience members in the house, it was like I had done cocaine. My body was shaking. Even now as I'm talking about it, like I'm starting to shake a little bit, because it was so invigorating, and to hear the audience laughing and to just have that energy after so long and after dreaming about it for so long, it was just phenomenal.
Hearing the just electricity, I keep using the word electricity, but hearing the electricity that you got from just everyone being in that room ready for something that was the revival of our times, the revival of our passions, the revival of our escape and collective ability. It was such an amazing feeling.
Fucking fabulous. Yeah, fucking fabulous. Because we did it, and we didn't know if it was gonna happen. And it was such a, I think, a labor of love, and really fun, and also really challenging, and it felt like a triumph. So yeah, fucking fabulous.
Trying to produce theater during the pandemic has taught me that adaptability is very important in theater. You have to be able to if your show, for some reason, like an actor gets sick one day, they get food poisoning, and like they're one of the leads, you gotta figure out how to fill that role that night, because like theater says, the show must go on. So you gotta find a way to persevere and get the show done so that we have something to put on stage and we can like show the students, like, even though we have these difficult times, we can still produce theater and produce good theater.
It taught me to have faith in my ability. It taught me to believe in myself when believing in myself was the most difficult thing I could have done. It taught me to trust my gut, and it taught me to follow my dreams and not to shrink away from the challenges that may come as I do chase my dreams.
Accessibility was the most important thing we learned, well, we learned 1,000 things. We learned 1,000 things. That was just one thing that I wish we could maintain, and then maybe we'll be able to figure that out after we get through this year, because we're hybrid right now. Everything is still hybrid, so still learning, still learning.
Because theater can include a lot of other sort of, medias. It isn't just an actor in front of you. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's just allowed for theater to continue to expand beyond the traditional definition.
It's kind of just like a chance to reflect on what's going on and take what you've learned, the mistakes you've made, and bounce back better than before.
Flexibility and technology mean a lot to what we do. Being able to adapt on the fly to survive, I think, is key, and the pandemic definitely did show us what we were made out of to actually continue to do live events live, even if it were on Zoom.
Producing theater during the pandemic taught me, about the resiliency of the arts, that art will always imitate human life, and that no matter what, art will always overcome, and art and theater especially will adapt, because you can destroy, you can burn down every theater, but we will still act, we will still perform, and we will still sing. We don't need a theater to do that.
Do I go? I'm not sure. Okay, I'm gonna go. I really don't want Coach to be mad at me or upset. This dance, I've been working on it so long. Let me hurry up. I really don't want her to be mad at me. Why is it so dark in here? I don't even know where I'm going. Where's the stage at? Where's the light? Oh, okay, I know where I'm at. Oh, she's not in a good mood. Okay, I really don't want to disappoint her. Okay, just breathe and listen. Did I just fall? Oh my god, she's gonna be so mad at me. Oh my gosh, she's shaking her head. Okay, let me get up. Just brush it off. It's okay. It's okay. Again.
People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. And the reason is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard, and you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, if you're not having fun doing it and you don't really love it, you're going to give up. And that's what happens to most people, actually. If you really look at the ones that ended up, being successful, unquote, in the eyes of society, and the ones that didn't, oftentimes it's the ones that are successful loved what they did so they could persevere when it got really tough. And the ones that didn't love it quit because they're sane, right? Who would want to put up with this stuff if you don't love it? So it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of worrying constantly. And if you don't love it, you're going to fail. So you got to love it, you got to have passion. And I think that's the high order bit.
Hi, my name is Patrick Miniaka and I play hockey at Pines Ice Arena. What I love about Pines Ice Arena is the atmosphere and the people here. It's just so great. What makes Pines Ice Arena special is the atmosphere and just the amount of activities they have here. From Florida being so hot, they have a bunch of things like hockey, figure skating, public skate, and a bunch more things. Pines Ice has helped me improve in playing hockey by just the amount of work they do, just the time and dedication the coach puts into each player, and all the different things, like working on footwork, stick handling, just everything. It's just so great.
My name's Chris Grovins, and I am a figure skating coach here at Pines Ice Arena. There's so much that I love about this arena. It's a great place for families to come and learn how to skate. It's a wonderful place for higher level skaters to come and train. We hold competitions here, we hold shows here, and our group classes have really gone up in numbers because people are just coming out and just really enjoying the sport. It's a wonderful sport. I take students from as young as 3 years old, and I've taught adults here out on the ice too. And depending on their level, I get to know them and we work as a team. And I just train them and we keep going and they advance, and it's like the most rewarding job in the world. I really love this job because it's combining both of my passions, which is the love of figure skating and also teaching.
Hi, so my name is Jamila Hughes.
My name is Blake Malik.
Hi, my name is Adam DeRoss. I am the new Director of Student Media here at Nova Southeastern University.
I'm a sophomore at NSU and I'm a legal studies major. I'm currently the news editor at The Current and I have been there since the start of my sophomore year, so about a semester and a half now.
I'm a junior. I'm the sports editor for The Current. I've been working there for about a year.
So essentially as news editor, I edit all of the news articles and I also write news articles. We try to keep them timely, so we have a couple of different things that we cover. We cover NSU news, we cover international news, and we also cover South Florida news in general. But yeah, we're just looking at current events that are going on around campus, around the area, and that's what I edit.
I make ideas for articles, I write articles, mostly pertaining to sports. I edit the entire sports section, and yeah.
So the editorial process is completely handled by the students. I act as more of an advisor, and generally speaking, it runs really well. We have a really talented team of people that each have their own sections, and then that kind of editing chain just goes along the process of writing articles, sending it to the copy editor, sending it to the editor-in-chief, sending it to me, sending it to our faculty advisor, Dr. Megan Fitzgerald, and it's just a big collaborative effort to make sure that all of the articles are where they need to be, and so we get published in a timely manner.
What has been your favorite part about working at The Current?
The connection that we all have in the office is great, but I enjoy adding to my portfolio and just, more writing experience. It's always great this is what I want to do for my career, so it's always great to add to that.
My favorite part about working at The Current is definitely the staff. We're always having fun, we're always joking. In addition to that, I want to be a lawyer, so getting the writing practice and just the reading practice is lovely for me. It's very beneficial, but overall I love working there just because the people are great.
I can't say my actual favorite part, because it's just, no, I'm just kidding. I think my favorite part of being the Director of Student Media in the current iteration is just kind of seeing a lot of the things that started when I was an undergrad come full circle, especially considering that a lot of the people that I'm working with currently are people that I've known for many years. And so now it's gotten to the point where I've been able to see them grow as people and see how far they've progressed, and that's really inspiring to me to know that once they leave, I can start helping new students along that process when they come in fall.
What has been a challenge that you've encountered at The Current that you might not have anticipated?
So working at The Current, as I went in, I thought myself to be a pretty strong writer. Writing news and writing for a newspaper is different because you're writing in AP style, Associated Press style, which is the style that newspapers are written in. That was an adjustment for me and definitely a challenge. But throughout my time here, I've learned a lot, and I've been able to adjust to that.
Some things were easier than I expected. Some things were harder than I expected. Rigorous deadlines. We had some changes there, but not really.
So going into getting this new role, I mean, one of the biggest challenges that I knew I was going to face is the fact that student media was missing leadership for quite a long time. And so a lot of the things that were going on last semester, we have kind of had to step in and fix and or improve upon. And it's been quite a hectic experience, especially considering we're now at this moment only halfway through this semester, and there's already been so many things that have changed and so many things that we've fixed and improved upon and just kind of revamped altogether. So that is one of the biggest challenges, and it's going to be a challenge going forward, but so far, so good. I want to see communication majors and people from other majors as well, you know, really get a lot out of student media, especially over the entire course of their 4 years here at NSU as an undergrad. We really want to see students engage with us when they get here and continue to engage with us and learn and grow with us up until the point that they leave. And so something that I'm really looking forward to implementing is trying to figure out a way that they can do that effectively.
What would you say to someone who is interested in applying for the Current?
You know, it takes a lot of effort and a lot of knowledge. You know, you gotta know AP style. You gotta want to do it. It's not just a place to, you know, come get a paycheck. You know, it's pretty difficult at times, especially if you don't know what you're doing. But you know, just you'll learn as time goes on. But I would just say be educated, and you'll have an easier time.
I say give it a shot. It's really beneficial. You write in almost all of your classes, so getting that extra practice is super beneficial. In addition to that, the Current's a really flexible place to work. Everyone's really understanding. Everyone's, you know, we're all students. We're all trying to manage our lives. So I definitely say give it a shot. It's a great place to work. It's a super flexible place to work, and I love being an employee.
Apply. I mean, come fall, we'll be looking for, you know, new positions. I think that if you have a passion for journalism or a passion for writing in general, then we're always looking for new staff members. We're always looking for new contributing writers. If you have an interest, then we are more than happy to try and accommodate you.
Pretend to talk.
Yes. I mean, we already were.
Pretend that you have a good... Okay, go ahead. Should have done it before.
My name is Blake Malik. I'm a junior. I'm the sports editor for the Current. I've been working there for about a year. And now what?
Okay, alright, no, that's okay, that's okay, we can keep it going. Is it still going?
Yes.
Okay. Blake, so Blake, introduce us to yourself, tell us your name, your position at the Current, and how long you've worked there.
My name is Blake Malik. I'm a junior, and I'm the sports editor for the Current. I've worked there for now almost a full semester, 2 full semesters.
Okay, wait, okay. Just look right into the camera. Just look into Alright.
Zoo Miami Foundation, ZMF, formerly Zoological Society of Florida, is the private, non-for-profit support organization for Zoo Miami founded in 1956. While Miami-Dade County operates and maintains the zoo, Zoo Miami Foundation, backed by loyal zoo supporters, allows Zoo Miami to continue mission-driven initiatives and zoo enhancements to encourage an appreciation for the world's wildlife to conserve it for future generations.
Hi, I'm Kyle Martinez. I am the Education Programs Manager. Specifically, I work with outreach. So I'm the one that goes out to different schools and presents to the different classes. Sometimes we even bring schools out to Zoo Miami and have educational programs here as well.
My name is Danielle Iosi. I'm an Education Programs Manager here at ZMF. My main job is to run camp. That's the biggest part of it, but I also have a bunch of other cool educational programs that I do. One of them being running the Animal Fun Factory, which is where a team of educators work on building enrichment items for the animals, basically toys for them to play with and challenge their brains. And I also will have field trips that we'll bring here to the zoo and give them a really cool experience, or we'll go out and visit schools and bring wildlife education to them.
So what role does education have in the zoo?
So education is a very, very important role here in Zoo Miami, and we actually work hand in hand with a lot of different foundations and organizations to help bring a lot more education for conservation out to the general public. So this can be different programs out at different schools. Sometimes we even bring the schools out here. I know actively we work with tons of different schools just to have them engage with conservation one way or another, because at the end of the day we want to make sure everyone is aware, and then they can spread the wonderful knowledge of conservation to the rest of the people they know.
And this is my first time at the Fun Factory, and I love doing the special projects that the zoo has, so I'm enjoying it.
So the education department it's a key piece of a zoo in general, of any zoo. Education, it's our job to take the animals that you come and you see and you love to watch them, you know, eat and sleep and just be cute. It's education's job to add more depth to that animal, to help you to understand why they're here, why it's important that the zoo is continuing their existence. It's our job to bring something that would otherwise be far away into your heart so that you can understand its purpose and you become then passionate about continuing a species on or working to be a wildlife steward. So one way that we impact the community is through camp. Camp really offers the opportunity for local kids to come to the zoo and have an experience that is unlike any other that's available to them in Miami. They can come here and they get science education. They get to get hands-on, down and dirty with biology, with chemistry, with all of this stuff that will open their mind to a new world. It brings nature to a place that is otherwise seen as sort of a concrete jungle. So they can come and visit Zoo Miami, and it's sort of this like green break on the map that allows them the opportunity to explore in new ways. My hopes for the department is that we can continue to grow and become a superpower in Miami. We're already an institution here, but I want us to have a gigantic team of people so that we can just serve more of the community. Right now, we're reaching at least 1,000 individuals a month. I think that number could multiply tenfold. So if we're able to grow and have more impact, not only locally, but also being able to deliver virtual programs to people in different states or in different countries and really have a louder voice from all the way down here at the bottom of the country, that would really be the dream.
I was feeling hopeless, like there was nothing out there. There was nobody out there that really cared.
I was honestly like really angry at the time. I was like angry, like everything was angry that I didn't have the resources for myself. After I did join SunSurf, I realized like, wow, like I do have people to connect with. And it really did help me like be okay with my identity and be like, it's okay to feel this way and you aren't like a disgrace or anything because you feel this way. It's just the way that you are.
SunSurf means to me the representation that I was looking for when I was living in Arkansas, being just a queer black kid, kind of lost, didn't have any guidance. SunSurf is kind of like that guidance that I was looking for.
SunSurf means a tremendous amount to me. Many years ago, I was one of those clients that we served. You know, as a young African-American gay male sort of trying to find his place in this world, I needed services, I needed help. I left home at 17 years old because of my sexuality and family not being supportive of that. So it's important to me to wake up every single day knowing that not only am I making a good impact, but I'm serving those that help serve me.
SunSurf means a beacon of hope and light for all people of Broward County.
SunSurf is a social services agency which provides adult mental health services, youth mental health services, youth life coaching, housing opportunities for people with AIDS. We have the Noble MacArthur senior center, and we provide transgender services, women's services, and education services to the community, including education services for the various police departments in Broward County.
We literally help all people with all things. So we target and primarily focus on marginalized communities and people that are struggling and can't afford services that privileged people can afford.
SunServe is an organization that was established about 20 years ago. In fact, this month we are celebrating our 20th anniversary. We provide mental health and social services to the LGBTQ+ community. We serve about 5,000 clients each and every year. So in order to do that, that takes money. And that's where organizations and events like this come into play. The event that we are currently at is called the Florida AIDS Walk. It is an annual event hosted by AIDS Healthcare Foundation, which is also known as AHF. We work to end the HIV epidemic. There are 6 or 7 or 8 beneficiaries for the event that all do work in the HIV prevention space and provide services to the LGBTQ+ community. So we are here today to celebrate, to honor those lives that have been affected and impacted by HIV and AIDS. We are also here to continue to fight and raise monies for research to end this epidemic.
I found out about SunServe from an ad in one of the local rags. The ad said, gay, over 40, feeling invisible. I'm like, yeah, that's me. So I signed up for a 2-day seminar and really got to get on the right track as an aging gay man. I was in my 40s, and we have such a youth culture that this really helped me adjust to the aging process.
I found SunServe many years ago in 2015 when I wanted a name change. I walked into SunServe and asked if they can help me, and the executive director at the time was like, who are you, what are you, you have the X factor, people, you demand attention, can I harness that for good?
I've been a social worker now for 19 years. And during that time, we found out there was an agency that was working primarily with the LGBT community with mental health issues. And so I referred a couple of clients to SunServe when it was first started 20 years ago.
I moved here from San Francisco 2.5 years ago and happened chance to run into the HR director of SunServe. We had mutual friends. We had a conversation which lasted over 4 hours sitting at the Village Pub on Wilton Drive. Next thing you know, I had a new job as the director of development 2 weeks later.
I hope the very best for SunServe. What I hope to see in the future is that it continues to grow, continues to be an advocate for the community, continue to serve the community in a very positive way, and help our clients to excel in their independence.
I envision SunServe going to the total and complete next level. And if that doesn't mean adding departments, that means adding employees. I see us growing and elevating and really, really helping those people that need our services.
I would really like to see SunServe expand, be able to better serve the community. We do a great job now, but I'd like to see us do an excellent job, an outstanding job, a life-changing job for the LGBTQ and allies here in Broward County and in South Florida.
My favorite part about being in SunServe is the clients. I love helping people, and sometimes I deal with clients on their absolute worst days and struggling and hurting. But seeing those clients and helping those clients grow and flourish and become their truest potential is my favorite part of the job.
My favorite part about working at SunServe is working with student therapists. Some of our services are provided by master's level students who are either going for clinical social work, mental health counseling, or marriage and family therapy.
My favorite thing about being at SunServe is freedom. The director of SunServe, our CEO, he allows us to use our mind and our creativity, staying within the rules and regulations of our grants. And so we're able to be creative because there are sometimes issues that clients run into, or clients have, that the government grants don't cover.
My personal motto is change the world one person at a time. And that is a part of being, and it means being a part of an organization that has the same motto that syncs up with my life. Because we truly are changing the world one person at a time within this organization.
You know, the good old saying is it takes a village to raise a child. So we are in this together, we're in this fight together, and who not best to support our own community than ourselves?
It actually changed my life. I got with Misty, who was my coordinator, and I was like, I want to become that girl that I know that I am. Misty led me down the road, got on the hormones, got the name change, and not even a year later, I had the SRS, sexual reassignment surgery. And with that, I would have never been able to do none of that without SunServe and Misty, leading me into the right directions to become the woman that I am today.
My name is Terry Dyer, and I am the Director of Development for SunServe.
My name is Tiffany Andretta Ariagas, and I'm the Director of Housing Case Management and Case Management.
I'm Misty Eyes, and I work for SunServe.
Hey, I'm Bob Scardino. I'm the Clinical Director of SunServe. We're the premier LGBTQ social services agency in South Florida, and I encourage you to do say gay, as well as lesbian, transgender, bisexual, and queer or questioning.
It's important to support organizations like SunServe who are doing the work in the community. We know that in this country and in the state, we have major issues when it comes to mental health. So it's important to help our community get better. It's important to provide the services needed and really help reduce the stigma that exists around mental health care.